Well, I'm at Communities and Local Government for the first Big Society Network Open evening, and back through there's amazing buzzy discussions going on, but I've pulled out Paul Twivy, who's the Chief Executive of the network, and Steve Moore, who's doing the engagement processes, to give us the maybe 5-minute version of what's going on. Paul, you gave us some terrific inspiration to start with. What were you trying to get across to people?
I'm trying to get across, I suppose, that the Big Society is raw, interesting, unignorable, I think, and on the agenda of everybody, that it's probably fair to assume that the starting point for a lot of people is scepticism through to hostility, or certainly lack of knowledge, because we know from research that's been done for us that only about 1 in 7 people have any kind of detailed knowledge in their mind about what the Big Society means or is. So for the rest, they're kind of inventing what it might be. So I suppose within that context, what we're trying to do is shape what the Big Society Network specifically does. Now, the Big Society Network's remit is to encourage and enable local action by citizens, by as many citizens as possible. I'm using deliberately very simple language. It's not about social action or active citizenship or any of those big conceptual terms. It is very, very simple, and it should be enjoyable and rewarding. So the kinds of ideas we've just been throwing at them to sort of think about are our main idea at the moment, which is your square mile. What is your square mile? Your square mile is basically taking the idea that there are 93,000 square miles in this country. We are dominated by 2 of them, the Westminster and the city, both of which we feel have let us down. How can we take control of the other 92,998 and get what we want done as citizens? And how can we enable that process as much as possible? So we are trying to talk about very practical, action-orientated ideas, like removing some of the obstacles. Could we get rid of CRB checks? Could we make liability insurance for volunteers very simple? Can we promote very, very clear ideas like time being almost literally a currency that's traded between people? Could we encourage a large section of the population, or a reasonable section, to actually invest some of their money into tackling social issues that they feel passionate about, such as homelessness or domestic violence, or to take children out of poverty, or to invest some of that money in their square mile, in their neighbourhood, or maybe a combination of the two? How could we take technology and use it in the best possible way? So we're working with people like Martha Lane Fox on digital inclusion. That's a very, very broad agenda, because how could we, for example, take technologies we all use every day and allow them to be a means by which people vote or contribute ideas? We could take ATM machines, which people use every day. We could take Oyster card technology, which we swipe and feel confident about using. We could take Big Brother-style video booths, where people could go in and actually contribute ideas or vote. Take all kinds of, and obviously mobiles, which are ubiquitous, iPads, which are beginning to start, and all sorts of other devices. How can we take these technology interfaces, preferably the most intuitive and easy to use ones, and encourage people to use them quite spontaneously as things occur to them, to contribute ideas, to vote, to get things done effectively? So it's a range. It's time currency, it's use of technology, it's breaking things down to neighbourhoods and square miles, it's releasing people's money to invest in social causes that they believe in. These are the kinds of ideas that we're trying to encourage and get debate around.
Steve, can I turn to you? Terrific buzz going on in there, but I'm sure you won't mind me saying that's not too difficult in London, with all our Twitter friends, and people have been warming up to these ideas over the last few years. How do you take this elsewhere? How do you get out to the rest of the country?
Firstly, I think it was important to do this tonight, because anyone who's had to track the reputation of the Big Society online will know that there's a huge appetite for the sort of conversations that are taking place in the room at the moment. So I think it'd be remiss of us not to be able to bring these people together before we move into the midsummer period. So I'm pleased that we've done that and so on. One of the things that we're really keen to do is to try a whole range of different approaches to what would be typically called consultation, but we don't want to call it. I think consultation is probably the wrong term in the context of what we're trying to do. I think we're at a stage now where not only do those conversations need to be had and brought into the public domain, but also we can benefit enormously from the engagement process. So try to start something. I think we can do it around the country. We're already talking to a whole range of different partners, local authorities, other kind of umbrella organisations in the arts and sport and so on who are keen to host these sort of events. So over the course of the next 3 or 4 months, there will be what we call a town hall tour, which will take us in some town halls, but also in other venues across the country, some very large events, some small events, and so on. So we are currently in the stage where we're building up the network's capability to have those conversations, to respond to them. We'll also be enriching a lot of what we do online over the next few months as well.